good evening, good afternoon, probably more like a good morning, good afternoon for everybody at this different time slot. But we are well into our graph learning journey in June. So June, we have kind of like created our certification month, and we are getting together a couple of voices around Neo4j to hear from their journey, from their experiences learning Neo4j, but also from getting some tips and tricks for you guys if you are out there currently trying Neo4j maybe for the first time. Maybe you did a Graph Academy course, or maybe you're coming back to it. So Rock, you're a good example. Rock says used Neo4j 2 years ago. Have completed a couple of courses on Graph Academy, but maybe it looks like maybe you're coming back to it now and then wants to know, hey, what's up? Is there something new, something changed, and what's the current status? So I think that's always interesting when talking to people on the journey. Lots of things change all the time, so the product constantly evolves. So yeah, and this is one of those episodes where we get together and share a couple of bits and pieces and some knowledge and some tips and tricks for you. Today, I'm super happy to have Sid, part of the DevRel team at Neo4j, and Sid recently also released a book, and I need to look that up because otherwise I'm missing a part, I'm sure. Where is my link here now? Oh no. Maybe you can tell me the book name. Sorry, Sid. My browser just stopped working, and it's a long name. It is called, it is Building Neo4j-Powered Applications with LLMs, Create LLM-driven search and recommendations applications with Haystack, LangChain, 4j, and Spring AI. And you're holding up the cover, but it's a bit blurry.
Yep, that's the one.
That's the one. Very nice. Yeah, congrats on releasing that book, first of all. Pretty cool achievement. But maybe give a couple of words about yourself to the audience, who you are, what you do. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks, Alex. So I'm Sid. I'm based in Bangalore in India. I take care of developer relations activities across Asia Pacific at Neo4j. I've been in DevRel, community building domain in this industry for over a decade now. Worked with Google, IBM in the past, a couple of startups in the past. I started off my career with IBM as a Java technology engineer, but then my passion was always towards developer advocacy, developer relations, community building, and that's what my calling was. And then eventually I thought, okay, I'll take a leap of faith and then move to a DevRel domain, and that's what I did. I left my regular desk job of as a developer and then moved to a DevRel kind of a role. I started off with a startup, worked my ass off over there. It was like a field job, to be honest. Almost 20 days on the road. So it was crazy. And then I eventually joined Google, then a fintech startup, and now at Neo4j. I'll be completing my 3 years in less than 1.5 months. So
wow, time flies. Yeah. Wow, it's already 3 years. Crazy.
Yeah. I didn't realize that myself. I mean, I was just looking at it. I mean, okay, 3 years. Wow.
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, that's great. So obviously, as this is called AMA on Graph Power GenAI, I mean, all of these sessions are sort of interactive, but this is particularly interactive. So you are invited to ask questions. I have a couple of questions for Sid, but the majority of questions should obviously, or we invite you to ask your questions if you have questions for Sid in general on Neo4j, specifically on Graph Power GenAI, on something AI and graph related. Maybe Sid is your man. If you have general Neo4j learning journey question, and also ask us. But that's the point, and we can run this as long as there are a question coming. We are running out of questions. We are obviously no longer doing it, but because Sid has just published his book, and I share the link in chat as well, which I haven't done so. So let me get that. We have also we are celebrating this a little bit, and we are giving out a bunch of copies. Sid, how many can we give away today?
We can do two copies.
We can do two. Great. So we'll do 2 copies of the Building Neo4j-Powered Applications book, and I have a chatbot basically enabled that is very easy to use. You just click on start, and that is very easy to use. You just need to type !raffle, and then you get a ticket. And then at the end of the event today, I'm able to pick 2 winners. And then, well, not I'm, but the raffle random generator will pick up 2 names, and then you'll send me an email, and then we'll get you the book. So super easy. Looks like the link I use is not the right one. So let me double check that. Sorry about that. Today it
works for me.
My excuse is it is early, but that's not really all of it. Well, it works for me. Sorry, Sunil. I don't know what's going on, but the link should be right.
You can copy paste the link and then paste it in the browser. That should work. Or I'm sending you another link, Alex. That's the Amazon link. If they want, they can.
Let me down. Yeah. Super. Here we go. Exactly. Let me copy that. Oops, that's a long one as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sharing that with you also. Here you go. Hopefully that works better. And yeah, if you want to win the book, sorry, I have to say this works only in YouTube and on Twitch. If you're watching us on YouTube and on Twitch, please type in !raffle. I'll share it how it looks like. So you need to do it like this, without the dash in front, obviously, but just !raffle. Type that in, hit enter, and then you should get a ticket. And once you have a ticket, like in 20 minutes or so, half past, we draw 2 winners, and then you get the book. Cool. All right, that's that out of the way. Let's maybe start. First question is obviously around the book. Let's start with that. Sid, if you don't mind, is I think it's always when I see people writing books, especially technical books, they're often like very complex, very long, lots of work goes into them. So what did you make write that book? What was the kind of like story around? Okay, now I want to write that book. You probably had some inspiration, and then said, okay, yeah, this is a great story for a book. This is good content for something technical to learn. And how did it start? And to get that off the ground.
Right. So of course, I've been with Neo4j for almost 3 years now. Learned a lot about Neo4j. Built some small demos of my own. Wrote some blogs. And then eventually folks at Pact, who was a publisher of this book, they reached out, hey, would you be interested to write a book on GenAI? GenAI was there. I mean, it's still there. And they wanted specifically on Haystack, LangChain4j, and Spring AI. So these are 3 GenAI frameworks, LLM frameworks that are widely used. LangChain4j and Spring AI mostly focus on Java professionals. Haystack is mostly focused on Python professionals. So I thought, let's give it a shot. And then I created an entire, I won't say the entire content itself, but I created like an index of sorts. Okay, this is what I want to write. And my thought process was I'll take everyone through a journey which goes from 0 to hero, kind of a journey. We'll start from people who have 0 experience with Neo4j, give them a flavor of what Neo4j is, give them a flavor of what GenAI is, and then take them to a journey of, okay, this is how you integrate Haystack, this is how you build an application, and then this is how you integrate with LangChain4j, this is how you integrate with Spring AI. So we show them the integrations, we show them why specifically these frameworks would be really helpful and powerful. And then towards the end, we take them, okay, these are just the demo applications, but if you really want to productionize these applications, how do you take them to a production level environment? So that's how I categorize the entire book into four parts. Part one would be where we're covering up GenAI introduction. I mean, not practically a GenAI introduction, but introduction on why LLMs hallucinate. Um,
Hmm.
okay, there is RAG as a concept, retrieval augmented generation, which people who have spent the time in building GenAI application would know what is RAG. We can discuss RAG in later section. So
Yeah.
so introducing what RAG is, what knowledge graph is, what Neo4j is, how it works. That's the part one. And then part two is where we are talking about specific integration of Haystack. Part three is where we are talking about specific integration with LangChain 4j and Spring AI. So that's how three parts were covered. And the fourth part was deploying it on any of the cloud providers, let's say Google Cloud or AWS or Azure. So I picked in Google Cloud because I'm pretty much familiar with the entire working of Google Cloud interface and everything. So that was my natural choice. But then the content was also around, okay, if you want to take this to Amazon Web Services, this is how you do it. You take it to Azure, this is how you do it. You follow up the
Mm.
links in the book, and then you can deploy on your own. So four parts in the book, very easy to understand, to be honest, like even for a non-technical person. um, I wouldn't say purely non-technical, but some a bit of understanding on tech, and non-database professional can also understand. So the intent of the book was also to target non-database professionals, people who have zero experience with databases, people who have zero experience with Neo4j. So catering those people in mind, we made sure the content is easy to understand. The data sets are not difficult. It's not too complex for everyone to understand. So we made sure on those aspects and taken them through a journey of kind of a zero to hero with GenAI.
Cool. Yeah, that's a great story. I think that sounds like giving you, all the things you need, sort of, to get that understanding and to get that off the ground. Um, what was maybe still talking about the book, when you say, getting GenAI was just starting, and then you had this journey. Now it's AI is basically everywhere. What was what was one of those moments where you say, okay, yeah, this is AI and Neo4j. This is just a perfect match. This just makes so much sense. It is clear that this is going to be useful and really helpful for everybody building with Neo4j or with AI. And then to say, okay, but you should really combine the two. This is just the better way.
So that was on my personal project, not specifically on the book, but a
Hmm.
personal project I built. For those who are joining in, and if you're an Indian, you would know this. There's a Hindu mythology called Mahabharat. It's one of the largest epic ever written, and probably will be ever written. We're talking about 100,000 verses and more, numerous characters and dense web of relationships. So that was a time when I really felt that Neo4j and GenAI could be super super powerful. I started off building as purely a graph specific project, like solving a graph problem. Okay, there are one character which is connected to maybe five characters, and those five characters are individually connected to maybe another 1,000 characters, 100 characters, and so on and so forth. So making sure that I can map this entire dense web of relationship between characters and individuals, events, persons, and everyone. Sorry, I created this project as a graph project, educating people. Okay, this is, and again, as I said, this was very specifically, okay, I can showcase this in meetups at Delhi or Bangalore or anywhere in India, because people can easily relate to that context. So built it as a graph problem. And then when GenAI came into picture, a lot of people asked, can I convert this like a chatbot kind of an application? And there's a natural language interface. I can ask questions in my natural language, get a response back. So the project eventually evolved into a GenAI project, which is the right title for this, graph powered GenAI, where graph was the essential element to it. Um, Without graphs, you build a GenAI individual project, it will not give you the same results or the accurate contextual results as what you would get with a graph powered GenAI
Hmm.
application. So currently it is in a state where you ask a question. So what I'm still working on it, but for now you just ask a question in English, you get a response back, and then you can listen to an audio to it in Hindi, in vernacular language. So eventually, what I want to make is it's a fully vernacular language interface is what I want to build. You select the language at the start. You interact with the chatbot in a natural language itself. So you like you speak out a question in your vernacular language, and you get a response back in your vernacular language. So that's what my aim is towards building this entire chatbot. But for now, this is what it is. So
Okay.
that was the point when I really felt the true potential of graphs, because I could relate to the epic, I could relate to the entire context, and similarly, folks who are non-technical or they do not understand what Neo4j is, I could easily connect with them and then educate them on this is how graphs can be powerful. But of course, there are hundreds and thousands and millions and billions of use cases, I'm sure, on graphs. Graphs are
Yeah,
literally everywhere. So yeah, no disregard to the fact that graphs can be applied literally everywhere and anywhere.
that's true. That's very true. You have we had talked about this in a stream towards the end of last year. I shared that link. You have also and I don't know if you have that link ready, shared this as a Medium series, blog post series.
And let me
So
just
we could also put that in the chat for people to look that up later on. I'll
yes.
put everything, but I would also put everything in the YouTube video description. So we have some time to do that later on.
Yes,
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
given you. So it's a
Yeah.
4-part block series, talking about the entire journey,
Mhm.
how I went from building the entire web to making it like a rudimentary chatbot in part two, then adding
Yeah.
graph regulation in part three, and then adding the text to speech features and multi LLM support in part four.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a great overview here for people to see.
Yeah.
And I've
And
added that.
kind
Yeah.
of to be honest, it kind of works with any other mythology also. So maybe if you want to experiment and try it out, maybe you pick in your own and any manuscript, any kind of mythology that you have. Maybe start with Bible, or any other manuscript that you want, and then you try to see how you can extract characters, build a web of relationships. So I mean, the possibilities are endless. I chose an epic which I can relate to. That was the only
Yeah.
intent. But yes, there's so many amazing projects which people have developed um, with Neo4j and graphs.
Yeah. Maybe one more question on the book. Can you maybe share a favorite learning or a favorite example, something where you see the synergy between Neo4j and LLMs kind of unlocking?
So since I wrote the haystack part, I come from a Python background. Since I wrote the haystack part, I chose a movie recommendation example of how
Mhm.
you combine your regular movies data set, which was just okay, you have movie information like title, the cast, crew, directors, producers, actors, so on and so forth.
Mhm.
And also you have plots, movie overviews basically. And then how you can vectorize them, convert them into vectors, how you can find context rich questions, and so that it doesn't just give you a semantic result from just your um, plots, but it can rather go and scan through the entire, do a graph traversal and go through the entire web, entire graph, and say that okay, you're asking for supposedly your question is that you want to get movie recommendations for movies like Interstellar, but with
Mhm.
specific actors, um, or with specific director with specific director. So now you can get movies specific to Interstellar, but now with a specific director. That's what you're trying to find. So it goes and checks the Interstellar related movies, or plots having similar kind of a concept as Interstellar, and starts doing a graph traversal and then trying to find, okay, there's a director of Interstellar. Let me find the same director as well. So I mean,
Mhm.
that's very interesting to get a movie recommendation. That's something, even if you watch a Netflix, you're kind of missing right now. And hopefully Netflix, if they're seeing this stream, maybe they add in this component in their application where they bring in a natural language interface, a chat interface, and then you can ask, okay, this is what I want to watch, instead of literally typing in the name of the movie, and then giving you related movies. Now I want to get specific to directors, specific
Yeah.
to cast, specific to the crew, or not just the plot
Mhm.
alone or genres alone. So hopefully, all these OTT platforms start fixing this in their applications and start providing you this kind of an interface to interact with the human. So I mean, all in all, what I'm seeing seeing a trend, what I would love to see as well is from a search based application, a purely a search based or recommendation based application, to more like an experience based applications. That's where the future is. That's where the trend is also going. And from the book as well, that's what I want to also achieve. And partially, I kind of build that kind of a process where you're not just asking for a similar movie or similar genres, but you can ask literally any question about one movie or other movies related to one movie, or so on and so forth. I mean, it's not just a one-to-one relationship. It's a one-to-many relationship. There are many-to-many relationship that you can explore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super.
So,
Uh, we have a
we have a
question now
question now.
from Hillis, and I have a little bit of an echo, Sid. I don't know. Um,
Let me just 1 second. Is it better?
uh,
Is it
I
better?
think it's, yeah. Maybe. Let's hope. I think so, yes. Hillis asks, can you please share your insights regarding the demand of people with certification skills on Neo4j in the industry, how to overcome skeptics, people who redirect you to use good old NoSQL platforms, etc. I think that is probably one of those challenges we all face every day. I don't know. Maybe you can have a have a go at that.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a very interesting question. And as you said, Alex, we within DevRel we always get this question from partners, from customers, from everyone. To be honest, like, okay, uh, you're getting yourself certified on Neo4j. You're taking up these Graph Academy courses, but what's the real demand for it? Uh, well, the demand is there. There's always a need for people who are graph experts and graph skilled, and all these partners and customers are always looking for these people. So my personal advice is to always look for opportunities within these customers and partners, but at the same time, what's happening as a mindset shift is, um, people are now looking for, like, these companies who were not initially looking for Neo4j expert. They are rather looking for a Neo4j expert now, a graph expert, because they are realizing the true potential of graphs, when it comes to GenAI. So earlier the skeptics was, of course, they're redirecting to good old NoSQL platforms, but now they're rather looking for people who can come on board, do a nice graph model for you, for your use case, build a nice graph data model for your use case, and eventually, you build your GenAI application on top of it. You do graph rag, you do agentic graph rag also on top of it. So there is definitely a shift that is happening that we have seen. In fact, I came at the right time, to be honest, for Neo4j, at Neo4j. When in the initial 1 year when I joined Neo4j, I was getting the same um, questions as you posed to me. Um, like, why not NoSQL databases or other databases? Why graph databases? And in the last 2 years, I've seen it like a tremendous shift where people are rather coming and telling me how to use it, how to use graph databases rather than posing a question of why a graph database is no longer there. Rather, they're saying how,
Yeah.
and how it can help us achieve a certain goal. So that's a very good shift that has happened for Neo4j as well. And thanks to GenAI, I mean, graphs has been super powerful, but I'm sure uh, when it comes to mass enablement or mass education, GenAI has literally given an acceleration to Neo4j and to graphs in general. So so yes, I'm sure there will be a further shift. A lot of work is going on in the background, building integrations, building these frameworks with Neo4j. So I'm sure there will be more coming up soon. And of course, a shameless plug. I'm sure Alex, you're going to do that. But Nodes is happening this year. It's back
Yeah.
for the seventh year. There will be super amazing content around graphs, and we have seen more submissions this year uh, as we have seen ever before. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited for Nodes. Um, we are well ahead of our schedule for Nodes this year, so which is also very exciting.
Yeah.
Uh, that things have drastically changed in the last 1 or 2 years for graphs. So there is a demand for sure. We need expert people who don't understand just databases, but they also understand graph databases in particular. um, so I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I can only agree. I just shared a link to notes in chat. So the call for papers has ended. So, but like you said, I think it's a great event in November. If you want to learn, how other people are using graph databases and AI applications, I think that's the best place to have a look at that. You see lots of firsthand showcases, you see technical sessions, and you get to know how other people are doing it. So I think that's a great way. And I can also only echo what you just said about AI and that driving a whole new demand towards Neo4j. And it's also a little bit funny because we have talked about these same concepts for, I don't know, I think Neo4j is around for 15 years or even more now. And knowledge graphs have always been, a big story. And you always said, okay, it's important to get your data together, and then you have insights in your data and use a knowledge graph to do that. And I don't say people didn't care as much, but people were not as open to that shift. Like you just outlined, Hillis. It's more like, yeah, but we can use standard SQL for that, and it's good enough. And then in some cases it was, but now people realize, okay, but if I want to do something with AI, if I want to build that, if I use standard systems, even if I rely just on a vector store, it's just not good enough anymore. It's very, very quickly very clear that it's not going to help you as much as it could. So you miss out, and then you look around and you see, okay, but what can I do? And then graphs pop up, and then people come, and then the whole graph reg story. I think I'm pretty sure everybody heard about that. So it's just a very, very new pathway of people who are realizing, okay, this is a great match. This is a good fit to build.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have a couple more other questions. So Jesse wants to know, they are a data engineer. Does it make sense for I think it's a him, for him to learn Neo4j? What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, Graph Academy is designed in a way where anyone, any background can easily get started with Neo4j. It will definitely be of good value as a data engineer, because eventually, if you want to build any ML pipeline, you really want to use graph data science algorithms that we have built in house. Um,
Hmm.
that connects well with Neo4j and helps you achieve your machine learning task on the fly. So the amazing thing about Neo4j Graph Academy platform is you can curate your own learning path. So as a data engineer, you can go to the platform and then find out which path works for you. So you can curate your own learning path. So that's the amazing thing about Graph Academy. And I can see there are some courses specifically for analysts and data engineers and software developers as well. So do take up these courses, get to know about what Neo4j Graph Data Science is. If you want to get into the direction of data engineering with graphs, I'm sure the Graph Data Science courses would be really helpful for you.
Yeah. Agree. I shared the link to the Graph Academy in chat. And maybe speaking of Graph Academy, and since this is a learning journey, I think if you are, and probably another shout out to your book, I guess, but if developers are now new to graph database and maybe also new to AI, because obviously this is just developing, what's your advice to start out a learning journey, a pathway to experience or excellence, I guess?
So at Graph Academy, Adam and Martin, who are the brains behind Graph Academy, people who are custodians for this entire platform, amazing job of curating everything. And then, I mean, courses were there, but then putting it in a nice bucket. So they added a graph rack button on top of Graph Academy page. You can see it immediately the moment you open up Graph Academy page. So there's a graph rack button. So you go into over there, and there's an entire journey. So you start with Neo4j fundamentals. Of course, you would need to know what Neo4j is, and how Neo4j can help you build graphs, and what are graphs. I mean, the entire history of graph theory, how it started off, and how Neo4j came up, and what is property graph model and everything. And then it will take you to a journey of what Neo4j and LLM fundamentals look like. So we are covering up what is knowledge graph, what are LLMs, and why they came into existence. For those again who are super new to GenAI, so this is really helpful. Once you familiarize yourself with the entire fundamental concepts of Neo4j, and LLM, you dive into building knowledge graph. So, of course, vector indexes is going to be there, vector storage is going to be there. We're not getting rid of those vectors anytime, but then we are appending a graph traversal. So, how do you combine a vector with graph traversal? So, there are a bunch of amazing courses on that. Then building domain graphs as well. You want to have entity extraction done as well, addition to just a regular unstructured data mapping into a vector. So how do you build a knowledge graph with LLM? So there are courses around that. And then, of course, as I said, when someone asked about data engineering, there are courses on data science as well. How do you enrich your graph further? How do you get better insights from your graph? So there are courses on graph data science that are also mapped within this entire journey. So you go through this entire journey of fundamentals and then building knowledge graph, and ultimately you apply these principles and graph rack into building you via frameworks like LangChain 4j, Haystack, Llama Index, LangChain JS. Sorry. Or you get into the agent side of things, where you build agents with MCP, you build agents with LangGraph and GraphRag, or you build just standalone chatbots with these frameworks. So there are a lot of courses that are coming up every month, if I'm not wrong. At least every month is what Graph Academy team works on building these courses. So go to that URL which Alex has shared in the chat. That's a place to go and take the step-by-step journey, and you would be pretty much sorted with building with GraphRag, with Neo4j. But in addition to that, there are amazing courses, amazing tutorials on Medium, on Neo4j Medium channel, Medium blog, which will also give you an insight in terms of how Neo4j integrates with other frameworks, or real world projects and showcases are also available over there, like written by community folks, developers out there, of course, by Neo4j folks as well. That's a place also that you can explore.
Yeah, there's plenty material out there, lots of tutorials, lots of demo applications where people are sharing. So I think that's a great resource as well. And then the GraphRag page, don't be overwhelmed by it. It is if you open it for the first time, you see like 20 different courses. It's not like you have to complete them all. you are more like guided through, okay, some suggestions, what should you be doing, and what makes sense. But the titles are very, very clear and very helpful. And then if you think something is particularly interesting for you, I think after you have done the basics, I think this is important to understand what's following. But the knowledge graph, Neo4j basics are very important. But from then, you can pick whatever is interesting to you and just enroll and have a go at that. So that's I think that's a good recommendation. And maybe also read the book from Sid, and that gives you also some hands-on tips and tricks about that.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the book, I think we are now at the half hour, and I said we are giving closing the giveaway. So I did just that, and we are now able to pick 2 winners. And if I'm clicking here on my my random name thing, I don't know. It popped up 2 names, and one is GJ Johnson on Twitch. If you are watching this, congratulations, GJ Johnson. Please send me an email. I'll put my email address in the chat. Send me an email, and you'll get the book via a code. The other name is Karen Benzal. Karen Benzal, if you are please so kind and send me an email as well, and I'll share my email here in the chat. So for the winners, just send me a quick email to this email address, and I will get everything sorted. So congratulations, I guess.
Just replace the second dot with at sign.
Oh yes, you're right. Yes. Oh man, today, yeah. It's alexander.erdl@neo4j.com, obviously not .neo4j.com. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, cool. No, send me a quick, just I won on YouTube or /Twitch the book, and then we'll figure it out from there. Doesn't have to be a long text.
Super.
Yeah, I think we had another question here, and Karen also had a question, and we didn't do that so far. So let's do that. Karen asks, how does Neo4j's native graph storage and GraphRag integration outperform Amazon Neptune in identity resolution for complex identity graphs, enhancing accuracy and scalability? So, well, that's a very specific question. I don't think we can go into all of the details here in this AMA, because it's very comparative. Okay, one against the other. I don't know if you have any thoughts on it. Maybe we can give it as a more of a general approach, not specifically on Neo4j versus Amazon Neptune, but maybe give it a more generalistic spin. But
yeah,
generally, our standpoint is try both and let the numbers. Let's see how it works for you. But maybe you have some thoughts.
Exactly. I mean, typically we refrain from doing a competitive analysis with the Neo4j and other competitors or other players who are in the graph space. So play around with both. I mean, you can do identity resolution, accuracy, scalability, everything you can do within Neo4j as well. I'm sure you would be able to do it with Amazon Neptune as well. So play around with it. And see which one works best. One thing which I want to probably call out over here is what makes a lot of difference is your graph data model, how well you're modeling your graph. And the book also has amazing section towards graph data modeling. This is specifically written by Ravi, my co-author for this book. He's an expert in terms of how do you model your data well. And so these are some of the, I mean, there's no right or wrong way to model your data, but these are some healthy practices, best practices, tips and tricks that can really help you enhance your accuracy and also with scalability. A lot of people come back Neo4j saying that, hey, we are running it on community edition and we cannot scale Neo4j, or we are finding too tough to get the queries retrieved. The retrieval takes a lot of time. After maybe, let's say, I mean, hypothetically speaking, let's say after 1 million nodes, there's a lot of time that it comes back with the query. So, I mean, that also goes back on how you're modeling your graph. There are a bunch of things that you should definitely cover in when you're modeling a graph. So that's what also is covered up in the book. So go through those sections as well. There's a nice course on graph data modeling, like an introduction course on Graph Academy. You can take up that too. So I think, generally speaking, that's what can help you. Like, I won't say outperform again. I don't want to use that word, but that can also give you a comparative analysis in terms of which is working well for you, Neo4j or Amazon Neptune. So try to implement the same thing with Neo4j, try to implement the same thing with Amazon Neptune, and see which one works best for you. So there is no right or wrong answer to it. And also, you can also post this question, the same question, on our community forum, community.neo4j.com. And someone from the engineering team might be, I mean, if they're comfortable, they might be able to give you a better direct answer to it. So don't forget to do that. Go ahead and post this question on community.neo4j.com, and hopefully someone in the community who would have done that kind of analysis themselves, or maybe someone from our engineering team, our developer, someone would be okay to give a very direct answer to you, a detailed answer maybe. So yeah, that's probably the short answer for this question.
Yeah. And Karen added to that they are an AWS organization. So if you are wondering about spending your credits on either Neptune or Neo4j, you can do that. So Neo4j is on the marketplace, on even on Aura, on our cloud offering as a managed graph database. Basically, you can spend your credits there. Just reach out to your AWS team or to the Neo4j sales team, I guess, and we can make sure that you can allot your credits towards Neo4j. So it's not going to make a difference in terms of billing, if that is a question you wanted to you were wondering.
Absolutely.
Sanskar asks a question. I wanted to know how we can configure a backpropagation graph rack for agentic AI. So again, this is very, very specific. I think it's like you just said, Sid. It's very it's maybe a question more for the community forum to have a longer conversation about, either on the forum or in Discord, to have a bit more detail and to get a little bit more into the facts. But you know, I don't know if your book covers agentic AI. You can maybe, that could be a recommendation. Also, the Graph Rack learning course we just outlined has has a specific agents section, and then lots of tutorials. But maybe you have a thought as well, Sid, to give maybe a quick pointer to Sanskar on how to do it.
No, yeah, I mean, you're right. I think this requires a longer conversation. It may be apt for our community forum or for our Discord server. So I think it's better to post it over there. Getting some opinion from the community as well, and not just from Neo4j. So I think that would be a better platform. We're not covering up agentic in the book. It's going to be until GraphRag, where we touched base until GraphRag as a concept, and then how do you use GraphRag or implement GraphRag. We purposefully skipped agentic because otherwise the book will become longer than we would expect it to be. So yeah, probably they might need a version 2 of it sometime. Where we cover up the agentic part as well. But yeah, I think it's better to post it on community forum or on Discord server.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Let me see. Did we have other questions? Now, there's one from Eshwa, and it's more about, okay, you have learned lots about Neo4j. You have maybe passed the certification. You are a certified Neo4j professional. You know what you're talking about. You use it regularly. Is there a way of teaching to others? Is there a way of how can you build a service on your knowledge so that others can maybe learn from you? I mean, I think that's a business kind of question. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there is demand for learning Neo4j. I mean, we offer lots in virtual environments, but if you want to do something locally, maybe at tutorial style sessions in on site somewhere, or if you want to also make yourself a name of learning, teaching Neo4j concepts in a blog, in a course like fashion or in video format, it's totally fine to do so. I would say. I mean, I think there's demand out there that if you have a good story or a good idea to teach people, why not?
Absolutely, that's a great thing. Thank you for firstly for completing the certification, and encouraging others as well to take up the certification. Great job, congratulations. And yes, I mean, feel free to share your knowledge with others. Maybe you want to build your own service educating people on knowledge graphs. That's great. I mean, where to start, where to get the projects. I think the best way is to maybe find some projects on kaggle.com. I mean, you essentially find some data sets over there at Kaggle, and maybe you see that if okay, this can be solved by a graph, so you turn it into a graph problem.
Yeah,
That's also one of the ways where you can find some projects, or build your own project repository for people to work on.
yeah. And that just reminded me of a blog post that I put in the newsletter for this week. That is Martin's journey to certification. So if you have maybe probably you have, Eshwa, similar story or similar road to certification. Maybe what was your and let me post that here. Maybe what was your experiences? What were good courses to prepare you for that? What did you learn? How did you learn? Things like that. I think that's always interesting for people who are starting to be on that journey. It's like, okay, how did others do it? What is a recommendation to a nice learning path? I think so. That blog post is another example of how you could, share your experiences with others.
Absolutely.
Cool. And then maybe looking at time, maybe we do one more question. There is one from Let's Strom. And they want to know when Neo4j plays a role in low code, no code RAG. Is there something we can share?
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm glad someone asked that question. Finally, interesting one. So, yes, we do have something interesting, which I always love to talk about in any other session. Is this LLM graph builder tool? I'm sending the link to you, Alex,
Yeah.
in the chat window. I love to call it as literally as a no code environment. Um, I won't even call it as a low code. So it's a it's a tool where it can help you do the entire chunking process as well. You put in the unstructured data and it does the chunking for you, but it also does the um, domain entity extraction, named entity extraction, and build a knowledge graph out of it. So that's an amazing tool. That's an amazing platform that folks at Neo4j have built. Do check this out. The documentation link is also there in the description. I don't want to cover up and bore you with what this tool is. You of course have options to play around with the two LLMs for free. You don't have to plug in your API keys for that. So if you access the last link which LLM which Alex has given you, you can access GPT-4o and GPT-4o mini. Put in your data set and then it can start processing it. Of course, the last files will be partially processed because there is a character limit and resource limit, so you have to chunk it in smaller chunks further to get it processed. But it does a brilliant job in building a knowledge graph out of your unstructured data with just a click of a button. And then you can chat within the tool itself. There are a bunch of retrievers we have. You can change the chat modes, and then you can chat as a vector only, or a full text, or a graph plus vector plus full text, or entity search plus vector. Another amazing thing, it's an open source tool. So there's a link to GitHub repo as well. I can probably send a separate GitHub repo link. Just give me a second. Where is that? Yeah. So if you want to run it with your own LLMs, if you have your own LLM, you want to use any other LLM, a local LLM, anything is
Yeah,
fine. So uh, run it as a local version or deploy it as a Docker image in Docker container as a Docker container at any of your servers, and then run the tool directly over there. So it's an amazing tool to play around, to test out. I have, so in fact, another fun fact, the Mahabharata chatbot which I referred earlier, I used this tool to literally convert my um, 18 chapters of Mahabharata into a knowledge graph with
cool.
this. So this is one. The second is this Neo Converse. You also asked about agentic. So we also built this Neo Converse tool uh,
Yeah,
that's still in works, and it can help you build agents in quick time. You have to connect your data set, add in the agent schema, I mean your database schema and everything, and it just builds an agent for you. So this is also another great tool. And if you're on the Neo4j Labs documentation page, you'll find a bunch of other projects, GenAI ecosystem works that we're doing, so frameworks that we have. Um, I mean, it covers almost everything. So do check out Neo4j Labs page slash GenAI to find more about what's happening in the world of Neo4j and GenAI
yeah.
together.
I think that's a great uh, call out, and there's also our the counterpart in our developer pages is where which I link as well. Great resource. If you go to slash developer slash GenAI ecosystem, there is lots of demos, tutorials from GraphRag to MCP as Model Context Protocol, with lots of in-depth showcases and tutorials. So if you are interested in building something there, I think that's another great resource for you to look out on. How to combine Neo4j plus AI in whatever kind of way you are interested in building something there.
Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, and that is we almost at the end of the hour. So I think I'd like to take the time and obviously thank you very much, Sid, for being here today and for answering all these great questions. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for your questions as well. We had I think a good time conversing together. If you want to continue the conversation, obviously the Neo4j forum or the Discord server are great places to exchange with Neo4j staff members, but also with the community members. So I think that's a great next step. Basically, if you want to connect with Sid specifically, his LinkedIn profile is in the video series description on YouTube, but also I've shared his LinkedIn here in chat. So give him a follow. Read the book. Let Sid know if you like the book. Obviously, you the two winners will get the copy. But if you wanna continue this this conversation in this format, I'm doing regular streams together with community members. So already tomorrow, there is a next session with two ladies that did a verifying cipher queries type tool. So that should be very interesting tomorrow. Is when that happens. The Neo4j certification month continues, so we have more community activities coming. One more, I think, on Wednesday. So with our colleague Jennifer, who will give us more insights into how to pass the Neo4j certification exam and what to do to prepare for it. So that's happening on the 25th of June. Nodes we already talked about, so that's happening in November. So as you can see here, lots on AI, but also general data intelligence, graphs, architecture. It's going to be a very, very interesting day full of technical and informative sessions. So I'm very much looking forward to it. If you are want to keep up on all the latest and greatest, then you can already subscribe to it or register for it, and follow the vibe. And I think we shared about everything about this we talked about. So if you are interested in learning, Graph Academy is your place. The Neo4j community is great. And Sid just shared with me a discount code for his book. So if you want to get the book, and I think, Sid, you need to say, where do you redeem that book, that code, Sid25? Is that on Pact directly?
Yeah, that's on Pact. So you have to go to Pact website and then just use this code, and you should be able to get 25% discount.
Super. The link to the book is on the video description as well. I'll share the link one more time in the chat as well. And if you're interested in saving a little bit of money, then use the code SID25 to get a bit of a discount if you buy it directly via Pact and get the book there. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you very much for your questions. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us all of Certification Month in June for all these interesting conversations. And last but not least, obviously, thank you very much again, Sid, for being here today, answering the questions and writing that book.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good rest of your week, and see you soon, maybe tomorrow.